Welcome to our segment on the ripoff of the week. And I'm very excited about this week's segment on the highly compensated public employees in the city of San Francisco. Welcome to the Facebook Live. My name is Adam Andrzejewski. I'm the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com. And you know our mission. It's simply summarized as every dime online in real time. And together, our team at Open the Books and we have built the world's largest private database of U.S. public sector expenditures. Last year, we filed an incredible amount of Freedom of Information Act requests. We filed 41,500 Freedom of Information Act requests, and we have built that database. You can come to the website and you can see not only the highly compensated bureaucrats in the city of San Francisco, but you can see virtually every single public employee by name, how much they make, titles where we have it, at every level of government, federal, state, and local across the entire country. So very exciting segment here today. And taxpayers in San Francisco and across the country are getting ripped off by the excessive amount of paid perquisites and pension benefits doled out to the public employees in San Francisco. So here's the top line. There's 44,000 public employees in the city, and they make an average of $131,000 a year at total taxpayer cost. That's extraordinary. So, I mean, you have painters in the city, for instance, making up to $270,000 of total compensation. You've got truck drivers loading up at $263,000 a year. You've got firefighters making $316,000, plumbers making up to $348,000 a year. We even found a deputy sheriff made $575,000 last year, and that included $315,000 in overtime. Now, how does this happen, you might ask? Well, it always starts at the top. The mayor of San Francisco, London Breed. She made last year at taxpayer cost, she made $452,000. And it was about $110,000 of extra perquisites and pension costs and health care and other benefits. And it was a base salary of about $342,000. She's the most highly compensated mayor of any city in the country. So let's break it down by department. Let's take a look at the fire department. So the fire department, let's take a look at the police department and the sheriff's department. San Francisco, not too many people know, it's not only a city, but a county. And so the state legislature in California mandates not only do they have a police department, but also a sheriff's department. And they manage things like corrections, and the police patrol the streets. So there's about 4,400 employees in the two law enforcement agencies. And last year, they soaked up over $800 million in compensation costs alone. For example, the police chief made $434,000 at taxpayer cost. Again, it was about $100,000 worth of benefits, and the rest was cash compensation. There was 4 assistant chiefs that made between $346,000 and $445,000. There was actually, and this is a stunning number, there was 195 employees of the police and sheriff's department in the city of San Francisco that cleaned off a total compensation package north of $300,000. Let's get to the fire department. Last year, there was 2 fire chiefs. One was on the way out the door into retirement, and she retired on a $310,000 a year pension. And the other one was on the way in, and she was paid and she was paid last year $442,000 in her first year as the fire chief. But that wasn't even the whole story. The fire chiefs in San Francisco, they get run of a 3-story mansion, a historic mansion that the fire department owns that's worth probably north of $2 million. It's always something in the city of San Francisco. There were only 20% of the workforce in the fire department that didn't have a compensation package that made 6 figures last year. Let's get to the public works department. You want to talk about that because obviously the public works department is in charge of cleaning the city streets. And that's a real problem in the city of San Francisco. You know, our reporting on human waste in the public way in San Francisco, the homeless problem, pooping on the city streets. Last year, the complaints peaked to an all-time high. So the mayor said she'd clean up the streets. We proved that she hasn't executed on that campaign promise. In fact, it's getting worse. The cases spiked to 31,000 instances of human waste in the public way last year. And it got worse because the director of the Public Works Department, the person actually in charge with cleaning those city streets, he was arrested by the FBI allegedly on a porta potty scandal. You know, this is San Francisco. The story always gets a little worse. So look, you've got things like homeless services, and you can make a lot of money trying to do good in San Francisco. There was 148 homeless service employees, and 53 of them made six-figure salaries last year. You've got interesting departments in the city of San Francisco, like I've never heard of this before, but there's actually a department on the status of women. And here's its mission: to make San Francisco the best place for women and gender expansive persons to live, work, and learn in the United States. So this agency tackles such projects as how many public spaces are named after women. I guess that's important to the folks there. And they've got 9 staffers that last year cleaned off $1 million. And our auditors found, and this is very important, that the agency itself has a problem with paying its interns. Okay, so its interns are paid $20 an hour, and presumably there's a lot of women in this women's department. And compared to other San Francisco government agencies, like in civil engineering and surveying and similar roles, they pay almost $30 an hour. So it looks like this department has a lot of work to do. I knew you'd be excited about this week's ripoff of the week, San Francisco. And if you want to see more of these ripoff of the week segments, just take a quick hit over at openthebooks.com. Sign up and give us $1 a day. Your investment in our oversight mission, where not only do we open the books, but we audit those books, will make a big difference in our shot, because more donations equal more investigations. Thank you very much for joining our segment this week, the Ripoff of the Week.